Let's talk about 8 innocent habits that are actually destroying your femininity. The tiniest habits, the ones that seem harmless, can be actively destroying your femininity and silently pulling you out of alignment every single day. Once I became aware of these tiny habits and started to shift them, everything changed, and I'm 99% sure everything will change for you too. The first tiny and innocent habit is intellectualizing your emotions. The thing is, I'm a victim of this, you might be a victim of this. It's because we've been conditioned by society and probably from childhood that we need to not be so dramatic, and why are you crying over such a little thing, and you're being too sensitive, and that has taught us to now as adults think our way through an emotion rather than feeling the emotion. But the thing is, feminine does not heal through logic. She heals through presence. When you ignore what you're feeling and you try to rationalize it, you try to come from logic and move through the feeling through, analytical tendencies, you really do just abandon such a sacred internal process that your body is trying to give you. It's the medicine that your body is trying to give you. This is why we have so many trapped emotions in our body, because we've thought our way through them rather than actually experiencing them, sitting with them, feeling them, and releasing them. Instead, we're thinking our way to a solution. We feel better mentally, but the emotion is still lingering in our body and it's stored itself somewhere inside of us. That is leading to chronic pain. Emotions, especially the uncomfortable ones, are not meant to be solved. They are meant to move. They are signals. They are energy in motion, and they are literally messengers from your soul. And we know that feminine energy is not about pushing, it's not about forcing, fixing, or controlling, it's about surrender. So surrender even when it comes to what you're feeling. Surrender to the emotion, surrender to what's going on in your body, honor it and sit with it and let it feel what it's feeling. No emotion is dramatic, no emotion is wrong or too much, it's simply just energy moving through you. So the more you allow that energy to move through you and really be released, the more you are actually healing, the more you are actually doing the work your body is craving, instead of thinking your way into a solution. And yes, you might be over the situation in a day or two, but have you really sat and processed, or have you just stored that emotion away in your body for a later date? And it will always come up at a later date. Emotion that is not released, it's not processed, it's not moved through the body, stores as energy somewhere else in the body. And that accumulation of untapped, suppressed energy comes as, like I said, chronic pain and chronic illness. Intellectualizing your emotions creates distance from yourself, it creates a disconnect from your softness, and worse, it creates shame around who you are, what you're feeling, your identity, and your body. The more deeply you allow yourself to feel without editing the experience and trying to make it a lighter experience than you're actually feeling, is what actually helps you step into your power. Because in that moment, you're saying, I trust myself to hold this. I have the tools within me to move through this and pass that energy through me. Feminine energy flows. She doesn't resist. She doesn't control or contort. She literally feels and processes. Allowing that self-permission is what truly radiates magnetic energy. And remember, your emotions are part of this divine intelligence working through you, giving you the real truth. Not the truth from your mind, not the ego, not the voices in your head that tell you one thing. It's literally the truth of your divine being. So allowing yourself to access this truth without needing to understand it is so powerful. The second tiny and innocent habit is neglecting your appearance. Let's be very clear. This is not about you becoming an extremely high maintenance woman who is extremely entitled and needs to be full glam 24/7, buying into all the trends and living a very high maintenance lifestyle. This is about self-devotion. Your appearance is the first energetic message you send to yourself and to the world. When you're constantly ignoring how you look, not because you're prioritizing rest and comfort, but because you've internalized the belief, I'm not worth it, that is when it starts to seep into your sense of self-worth. Now, this is something you may not even realize is happening, but your subconscious is on you. It's up, it's ready, it's hearing everything you're saying, and it is hearing, you're not safe enough to be seen. I don't deserve to be adorned and admired, and looking good just isn't important to me. Slowly but surely, those beliefs erode your magnetism. We might not realize it, but every action we take in this world with ourselves, with other people, comes from a belief. And that action coming from that belief is what we then start to subconsciously input back into our mind. It's this feedback loop where you're taking an action based on how you feel, and that action is going back into our subconscious mind and signaling something to us. When you decide to be less expressive because it's vain or because it's shallow, yeah, it's just not worth it to me, like what's the point? You're taking action on those beliefs every single day, and you're rewiring them back into your mind every single day. And of course, there's an effect for every cause. So by you putting them back into your mind and reaffirming them back to yourself by those actions, you slowly chip away at how you view yourself. You are taking action every single day to either put effort into yourself or to not put effort into yourself. And when you don't put effort into yourself, you say to the world, I'm not worthy. And you say to yourself, any sliver of time I do have left over, after taking care of everybody else, I'm not deserving of putting it back into me. I'm gonna find other external ways where I can allot this time. I don't deserve to have it for myself. Neglecting your appearance is taking away from your femininity because feminine energy is directly related to being expressive. The feminine speaks through texture, she speaks through scent, through beauty, through softness and sensations. When you neglect your appearance, you're not just simply skipping a step in your routine, you're silencing the very essence of what it means to be a feminine woman, to be in her feminine energy, the language of the feminine. This is the language that the feminine is itching to speak, and you're silencing it every single day when you say, not worth it. No, don't feel like doing that today. It's one thing to not put 100% effort into your appearance on a day that you're seeking comfort and a little bit of softness and rest, but it's another to wake up every day and completely ignore yourself. When you're putting time and effort into yourself, you are speaking the language of the feminine. You're speaking to the core of who you are, the essence of the feminine woman. You're speaking to yourself with intention, not just because you're putting a full face of makeup on, but because you're speaking with intention. You're speaking with this desire to honor yourself before anyone else does. It is a simple mindfulness practice that trains you to respect the very thing that holds your consciousness, your body, your shell. You're doing the inner work, why not do the outer work? This allows you to match the consciousness you're holding. You are the most amazing person ever. Why not give the world a sample of experiencing that amazingness by showing it through the way you express yourself on the outside? Gone are the days where you say that your self-care is conditional. You can have a self-care day when you've earned it, when you've hustled enough, when you've gone out there and you've rushed life. You are now doing these self-care practices as devotional acts to yourself. Saying to yourself every single day, I see you, I hear you, and I honor you. And that is when your energy starts to really shift, not because of how you look now, but because of how deeply you've chosen to care. This is the frequency of self-devotion that literally magnetizes anyone and anything to you because you are showing up for yourself in that frequency, in that energy. What are other people gonna do? They're gonna come correct and show up exactly the way you show up for yourself. The third innocent yet deadly tiny habit is playing the town hero. You are playing judge and jury to every single person in your life. There is a fine line between being supportive and being the person who has to serve justice for every single person in their life. Listen to me now and listen to me clearly. Everyone can fight their own battles. Taking on other people's stress is not helpful for them, but it's also not helpful for you. Save your energy and just be supportive. Be a supporting role in this person's life, not the person who is everyone's advocate and lets other people's SHIT become your SHIT. Being consumed in other people's drama and other people's business and what they have going on in their life is not supportive. It is just you abandoning yourself. As women, we are taught indirectly and sometimes directly that our value lies in how much we give to other people, how much we care, how available we are, and how much space we hold for everybody else's chaos. All the things that you think make you noble are things that are actually putting you in such a compromised position in your life. You now become the person who is going to fight every single person's battle and get justice for every single person because that boyfriend did them wrong, or their husband's treating them wrong, or this person's doing that to them, and you're going to go fight their battles because they just can't speak up for themselves. That is exhausting and depleting and unnecessary. I used to do this a lot in my teenage years where I was known as the friend that would always speak up. Because my other friends were more meek and they didn't really like confrontation, I would literally cut other people out of my life because that person had a problem with the person I was going to bat for, going to fight justice for. It's taking somebody's issue in their life and making it your own issue. And because you think they're a broken bird and they can't handle it themselves, you are going to play town hero and you are going to fight that battle for them. And what are you left with? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Because would that person do that for you? No, they would not. Are you robbing that person of their own growth and their own journey? Yes, you are. That person needs to learn boundaries. That person needs to learn to open the throat chakra and speak up for themselves. So doing all of this completely abandons your own needs. It silences yourself, and you are just 100% in your masculine energy. And that is just all masculine energy in disguise. Embodied feminine energy is not about self-sacrifice. It is about support with boundaries, care with discernment, and love without losing yourself. And constantly giving into this role and making yourself the town hero will continue to attract people into your life who need saving. And here's one thing I learned from being the town hero myself when I was in my early teens. It is that no one will respect you more for saving their life. They will actually respect you less. When you stop trying to rescue people, they respect you more. I never got a badge of honor. I never got more respect. I never was liked more. I never got what I was obviously trying to seek, which was more validation. Never. It was actually a loss of all of those things. That is the irony in all of this. You playing the town hero doesn't actually get you the thing that you're searching for. It doesn't get you more badges of honor. Innocent habit number 4 is always needing to say something. We are currently in a world right now that rewards noise. Take up more space, talk more, be louder, and those can be all great things when done through energy, not volume. I don't know about you, but growing up as an awkward kid, I have always tried to overfill the silence because it's gonna get awkward. And what if I don't have anything to say? And what if they don't have anything to say? Now we're just sitting in silence looking at each other. There is so much power in sitting in silence and not needing to talk more, because when you're talking more, you're trying to prove more. And there's so much power in just sitting there and just letting other people speak, and speaking only when you have something important to say. Not speaking through the volume that I was just describing. Not speaking through trying to overfill something or make a point in this way, not because we fear awkwardness or we're going to be misunderstood or we're going to come off a certain way. I think it's so important to remember and rewire the conditioned belief that if we are silent and we don't say much, we lose value in the room or on the table that we're a part of. Femininity does not perform. She just is. She's being. She is the moment, okay? I was at this dinner once and I had nothing to say. There was not one thing that I needed to say. And I could have come up with things to say. I could have thought about it and been like really trying to churn something out to say, but I just didn't feel the need to. And I remember someone told me afterwards that I like that you don't care what people think, and I like that you don't try to be liked. And there's a lesson in that. You are not trying to perform for anybody. When you're performing, it is saying that your compass is dialed externally. You are focused on how you're coming across. You are focused on being liked. You are focused on impressing that individual or this group of people. And that is when people sniff it out real quick. But when you're silent, when you have nothing to say, and you're soft in that, you're still in that, and you are confident in the fact that I'm just being silent right now, people pick up on that and they're like, wow, it's actually coming off as authentic because you're not trying to fill the silence or perform for that person. When you can do this, you're saying that you know your presence alone is powerful. When you always feel the need to speak, to prove, to justify, to explain, to make it make sense, you're not anchoring in feminine energy. You're anchored in the ego, in fear. When you can learn to be a part of a conversation and a part of a dynamic that is just still and soft, you will hear your thoughts more clearly. You will hear the other person more clearly. And that's when the divine intelligence, the divine thoughts can start flowing through you, and those are what you speak. You don't speak from your head, you're speaking through your body. So when we're silent, we're actually receiving more information about what this person is saying, and we're taking it into our body, and that is the truth that we're speaking. We're not speaking from a place of just wanting to be heard or just wanting to prove ourselves. That's all coming from our mind and from our head, which is where the ego lives. Our body is where the truth exists. So just be silent, receive the information from divine, receive the information from the person you're talking with or the group of people you're listening to, and let it just flow through you. And that's when you speak. Speak when necessary. Innocent habit number 5 is classic abandoning your needs. Now, I know I don't need to tell you this over and over again, but trust me when I say this is such an innocent thing that every woman does every single day that is silently pushing her out of her feminine energy, from her femininity. This is what is blocking your softness, and it's something that women are doing every single day. You're wondering why you can't drop into your softness. You're wondering why the self-care rituals aren't working. You're wondering why, after all of these videos, after all of these new practices you're inputting, you still feel disconnected from your feminine energy. It's because you're still being hard with yourself. You're still doing things every single day that you don't know you're doing consciously that are silencing the truth of your body, right? I've said this so many times in this video, in every other video that I make on feminine energy. Your feminine energy, your essence lives in your body. And your body is where your needs speak to you. When you're feeling tired, do you rest or do you push through because you have to get it done? Are you still constantly overriding your body's signals in the name of productivity and in the name of performance and ambition? You're silencing your cravings, your sensuality, your desire for rest and for comfort and for rejuvenation. And those all seem like, yes, oh my God, Vikita, it would be so lovely if I could do all of those things. But I have a family, I have kids, I have a job, I have to manage this and I have to juggle this. I understand that. I get that 1000%. But there's a balance. You can go rush life, and yes, you're ambitious. I'm ambitious as well. But when you're overriding the signals in your body that are screaming at you to just take 15 minutes to yourself, when your body's screaming at you to just take a rest day from the gym, are you listening or are you ignoring? Because you can be an ambitious, independent, go-getter woman, but you can also still honor your needs. When your body says rest, you rest. You don't feel like you're getting behind or I'm losing out on the gains because I'm taking a rest day. No. You will notice when you start honoring what your body is saying to you, honoring the feminine energy that is speaking to you through what you're feeling in your body, you will start flowing with life. The ambition will start feeling easier. The productivity will start feeling more seamless and effortless. Taking care of your kids, taking care of your husband, taking care of your partner will all come so much more naturally and easy when you come to this girl right here and you say, I'm listening to you. What are you talking? Okay, we're gonna listen. Do not neglect the power of honoring your needs. Your needs are not weaknesses. They are instructions from your nervous system. And constantly overriding these instructions with more, doing more, fixing more, controlling more, right? More to-do lists, more tasks. You are sending very dangerous messages to your nervous system, into your body, into yourself, and your subconscious, and saying, you don't matter. I don't trust you. I don't trust what I'm feeling. Your signals aren't valid, and I've got to do what my mind is telling me. My mind is telling me do more. I'm listening to that. That is what I trust. When you are super disconnected from your body, you have completely disconnected from your softness, from your magnetism, from your glow, from your radiance, like all the things you want to be as a divine woman, you disconnect from when you live through here. Because you're trying to force yourself into alignment while abandoning the very vessel that receives it and the very vessel that is delivering these instructions to you. So this doesn't just look like random fluff or more self-care routines and more baths. It looks like slowing down and honoring your body's wisdom in real time. Answering the questions of, am I hungry? hungry? Am I tired? Am I thirsty? Do I need to pause and just take a deep breath right now? What would bring me comfort and pleasure? Would it be sitting on the couch and doing my work? Would it be going for a nice walk? Would it be going to the park? What do I need right now? What is feeling good to me? Answer it. Listen. Get the instructions coming through. Adhere to the instructions. And this piece of information that I'm about to drop into your orbit right now is something I needed to hear years ago. And that is, give yourself the thing without needing to justify it. No more earning the rest. No more earning the nourishment. No more apologizing for what you're feeling, apologizing for your needs. No more telling yourself later, once we do this, like it's some sort of checklist. Give yourself the thing right now without needing to justify it. So to wrap this point up, honor your needs without feeling guilty, because a woman who tends to her own needs is a woman that is dangerously powerful. The next habit is future pacing. Now this one's a little sneaky, because on the surface it looks like you're doing everything right, you're planning for the future, you're getting those goals in, you're creating the vision board, you're still holding tightly. You're living in the future, constantly thinking about the next version of you, the next thing you want to accomplish, the next goal you want to reach. And that focus does sound productive, I won't lie, but what that does is it robs you of the present moment. The softness that you're trying so hard to access in the future is currently with you right now, only if you gave into the presence. So doing all of this is just another form of control. I talked about this in a previous video where we need balance, we need the vision, we need the plan, the blueprint, but we also need the surrender and the trust and the present moment in order to flow into the thing that we're trying to get. And like I said in those previous videos, this is sort of micromanaging the magic. So when you're in the next phase of life, while being in this current phase of life, you're losing the playfulness, you're losing the joy, you're losing the happiness and that inner childlike spark, because you're in a whole other reality, right? But this is the reality that is requiring your presence. Now, the example I'm going to use is a relationship example, because this is exactly what a lot of women do. I, again, have been guilty of this, and it's just a classic cycle that women go through. But when you know better, you do better. So this is when you are future pacing in a relationship, right? So in the current moment, it's requiring you to be playful and flirtatious and sensual and just happy and just like, ooh, I'm a bit giddy, you know what I mean? But you're now in the future. You're thinking about the other things you want to hit in this relationship, all the relationship milestones you want to hit down the line, that is actually robbing you of the present moment of just being, enjoying, feeling, loving, okay? You don't want to rob yourself of all of those things that make it such a giddy experience because you're thinking about what you want to happen in the future with this person. This is micromanaging the magic. This is not just feeling, this is just thinking 24/7, overanalyzing everything, overthinking, coming up with scenarios, rather than just enjoying what you're feeling with this person, enjoying how giddy and lighthearted you feel, being playful, being in the moment. That is the magic of life. That is feminine essence. That is just extremely magnetic. And yes, it feels so good to go into the future because we're like, well, what's gonna come of this? Like, we wanna know, are we just wasting our time? You know, are we not being vigilant enough? Is this person just stringing me along? Of course, we are women and we need to be vigilant with our time. But like I said in the other video, and I've continued to reiterate in this video, if our intuition is feeling really good and settled and our nervous system is feeling peaceful and calm, those are the signals we should be listening to. That is the truth. That is the sacred divine intelligence working through us and saying, you're good right now. Like, this is a great position that you're in. It's safe, it's calm. You don't need to jump into the future. But when we're feeling anxious, that is a signal like, okay, maybe we should be a little bit more vigilant about this situation. But as long as your body is speaking truth to you and it feels really good, don't go into the future and don't dim the playfulness and the flirtation and all of the sexy stuff because you're worried and wondering what's about to happen in the future. And this goes on to the next little bit of this, which is taking life too seriously. So many women are taking life way too seriously, so deep into their self-development, so deep into their healing that they forget how to actually enjoy life, making every moment a checklist. Every decision is overanalyzed and every conversation becomes one that helps you process, you know, where you just want to talk about everything. Again, guilty. working on this. This is just knowledge I'm passing on to you because I wish I had learned this a lot sooner in life. When you're constantly like this, life just doesn't feel light anymore. The fun is not in it because now you're constantly making every moment, every conversation, every decision this big, huge pressure cooker where it's riding on this decision, or this needs to be the conversation. I sort things out, and if I don't sort things out, then I'm not on the ball. It stops feeling feminine. It stops feeling sexy. And that's the best part about the feminine, is that softness isn't just about healing and rituals and all of this great stuff and these routines. It's about play. That is the biggest component of feminine energy. You can still be a work in progress and love reading self-development books and love the healing journey, but still enjoy life. And the most important one is that you can want more for yourself without making the current situation a problem. So we don't want to continue this disconnect within our body. When we start dimming our light, we start future pacing and we start getting into the future and overanalyzing everything, taking the magic out of the little moments, taking life way too seriously and just being an advocate for everything. And again, going back to playing the town hero and serving justice, just having to have an opinion about everything and overthink everything and overdo it. Just take a deep breath, just chill. I sometimes go through Instagram comments on other people's videos where they're talking about feminine energy, and there's so many riled up women in the comments, again, being advocates, which is all great. But when you make fighting justice and serving as this big humanitarian and this advocate as part of your identity, you just lose your spark. You just don't become a person people want to be around. The energy is dull. It's just a giant rain cloud, and it's just very serious energy. Nobody wants to be around serious energy all the time because life is not about being serious all the time, right? The best part of life is in the little moments. It's in the laughs. It's in the play. It's in all the fun. So remember to keep those things as a part of your dominant state of being, as a part of your dominant way of life. So if you're feeling disconnected from yourself, from your feminine energy, and you get into it a little bit and then you disconnect again and you're back in your masculine energy as your default, it's not because you're not doing enough. It's because you're doing it from the wrong energy. You don't need more systems. You don't need more routines. You need to drop into the now. You need to enjoy every single moment you are experiencing right now. Knowing who you want to be, knowing the version of yourself you're going for, but enjoying the process of becoming her. Number 7 is trying to win every conversation. Guilty again. Okay, these things are so funny to me because I used to do every single one of them. But trying to win every single conversation is so masculine energy. But I will say there's a nuance here. I'm a very intellectual person. I'm very analytical. I love critical thinking. And I just am a very deep person. Like, I really like to dig into the depth of things and sentences. So I'm generally in my head thinking a lot of the time because I genuinely find it fun for me. So it is an active balance that I have to strike within myself so that I'm not always in my head, right? So we pick and choose when we're in our heads. But when I was actively in my head and very in my masculine energy, I was always going to be the debater. You bring me something, I'm gonna debate it till I'm blue in the face. I'm trying to prove my point, and I'm trying to always have the last word. Do you know how many people were so over me? Like, people were exhausted with me, and they said, listen, take a day off. We've had enough of you. And I took that as a big reality check. So you do not need to be winning every conversation. There is so much power, going back to one of the points I already mentioned, in zipping it and locking that key away. We don't need to be saying every single thing on our mind. We don't need to be proving every little point, because when you're out trying to prove every single tiny point, the big things that you're trying to bring to the table go unnoticed, they go unheard, because now someone's thinking, oh, here she goes again. She's bringing something else to the conversation. Here we go. So opinionated. It's giving, I've always got to speak and I've always got to dominate the conversation. Again, this is a very sneaky way that masculine energy shows up in our communication, especially for high achieving women who are used to being emotionally aware and very articulate. But here's what most people miss. Masculine energy seeks to dominate. It seeks to control, to win, and to prove. Feminine energy, on the other hand, seeks to listen, to understand, and she's actually receiving the information before she's responding. Trying to win every conversation disrupts the flow of your softness. It disrupts everything going on in your body because now you're just in it to control the outcome. You're trying to win the end game. Even if, and again, I had to tell myself this, your intention is pure and you're just trying to educate or you're trying to offer insight, you're now holding the frequency of defense and correction, not openness. And people can feel that. So remember that it's not about being submissive, it's not about being passive, it's about holding space for the energy, for the person talking and the information that you're trying to receive. It's being open, it's inviting. It's not about trying to rush in with the right answer or trying to be completely understood. You don't need to win any conversation, any argument, any debate, whatever. You don't need to win. That is when you can fully just allow yourself to invite energy in and invite information and conversation in rather than control it. Tiny habit number 8 is filling every second with noise. I'll be very honest, silence makes a lot of people very uncomfortable. So they fill every single second of their day with something, some outside noise. Podcast, music, YouTube videos while we're cooking or cleaning. We're listening to our friends' voice notes while we're getting ready. We're listening to music in the shower. And while some of that is great and can feel very cozy, because who does not like to listen to music when they're cleaning or when they're showering, it actually does create a lack of stillness and this disconnect from your inner voice. Now, obviously, I'm not saying that our entire life needs to be around healing and self-development, obviously not considering what we've just talked about. But when we're constantly filling every second of our day with somebody else's noise, we can't receive the divine downloads. So just make time in your day for moments of stillness, moments of silence. This can be when you're going on your walk. You want to train yourself out of that addiction to the stimulation of listening to podcasts, listening to music, and always filling the space and the noise. You're not trying to do this just to be silent and have like nothing happening. You're doing this because then you're allowing space for the divine downloads. You're allowing space for your higher self to speak to you and give you that information that you've been asking for. It's when the clarity drops. It's the walks that have no music playing when your big idea drops in. When you're filling every second of your day with things that feel productive, like podcasts and informational YouTube videos, it's productive, yes, but it's not intuitive. These habits might seem small, even harmless, some might say, but over time, they do drain your connection with self, they do drain your radiance and your magnetism. And if you really want to take your feminine energy to the next level, watch this video next.